The BRICS was a famous phrase uttered by an economist at Goldman Sachs a decade ago. BRICS is an acronym standing for the rising powers: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And the notion was they would become the great actors, that Europe was in trouble, Japan was stagnant, the U.S. was in trouble with its difficulties, and so on. Well, that's not the case. It was a flash in the pan, and indeed Goldman Sachs has dropped the use of BRICS as a term and dissolved a BRICS investment fund they had set up. Brazil is in the process of having its worst economic crisis perhaps since the middle of the last century. Russia is in free fall thanks to the basically the creeping authoritarianism of the Putin regime, its failed economic policies, its incredible corruption and mafia-like dominance of its economy. China is stagnating. India is the one bright spot, but it has enormous steps it has to make in liberalizing its economy and making reforms. Some of those have been done, but others have yet to be achieved. South Africa, again, has potential, but it's mired in corruption and stagnation. So the notion that these countries, the BRICS or the Chinese or international institutions, the UN or, for example, the EU, would take on the kind of role the U.S. had once played, those were a fantasy, and recent events make that even more evident.